All right, let's take a look at question 11. It says the solutions of x squared minus x squared equals 16x minus 28 are. Now, there are two ways we can solve this problem. First method, we can plug in the solutions and see which one creates a true statement. And the second method is by factoring this quadratic equation we have here after putting it in standard form. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you both methods. Method one. Method one, we're going to just plug and check, plug and check. Some people call it plug and chug. So we're going to plug and check. If you have a calculator, this could be really handy. You can just plug it into your calculator and compute the expressions real quickly. Okay. So first option we're going to test option number one. Let me do it down here. Option number one. Option one, we have solutions. The solutions are -2 and -14. We're going to be plugging it into the equation. This is the test equation right here. X squared equals 16x minus 28. So let's test the first one. The one we're going to test first is x equals -2. Now, both answers must satisfy the equation in order for that to be a solution. If one fails, the second doesn't count anymore. Okay, so let's test -2. So we'll plug it in here. The question is -2 squared equals 16 times -2 minus 28. Is that true or false? That's the question. Okay, so if I square this, I get 4, because negative times negative is positive. I multiply this together, I get -32 minus 28. And the question is 4 equals -60. The answer is no. So this is wrong. So since this is wrong, that automatically tells me that option 1 is not a solution. All right. So we're going to shift to option number 2, and we're going to test 2 and 14. Okay, 2 and 14. Let me partition my workspace so we don't get confused. All right, so we're going to test both of them into the same function. So let's see. The question is scroll this up a little bit so I can see the function. Okay, there you go. All right, so is 2 squared equals 16 times 2 minus 28. Is that true or false? 2 squared is 4. Is 4 equals 16 times 2 is 32 minus 28. 32 minus 28 is 4. Is 4 equal 4? Absolutely. So this checks. All right. We just tested x equals 2. Now what do we do next? We have to test the second one, x equals 14, to see if it's true. So plug it into the function also. So the question is 14 squared equals 16 times 14 minus 28. Okay, 14 squared is 196. 16 times 14, you can do this with your calculator, 224 minus 28. And if you subtract these two, you get 196. So 196 is equal to 196. That checks out. So that tells me that a correct answer is option number 2. Okay, option number 2 is our correct answer here. All right, so we just did method 1, which is plug and check. Now let's do method 2, which involves factorization. Okay, any method you like will work here, as long as our results are integers. Okay, our rational numbers. If we have irrational results, then factorization will not suffice. All right, so method 2 is factorization. Get to make use of your factoring skills here. All right, so before we proceed with factorization of x squared equals 16x minus 28, we have to put in standard form or make it equal to 0. Okay, so to accomplish that, we'll subtract 16x from both sides and add 28. 16x. Because when we put it in standard form, we can make use of the zero product property after factoring it. Okay, so we're going to have x squared minus 16x plus 28 equals 0. Okay, all right, now let's see. We have it in standard form. Can we reduce? Is there a common factor we can factor out? There isn't any common factor, so let's go ahead and factor this. Okay, All right, I'm gonna make use of the X scheme. I like to use the X scheme to factor quadratic trinomials of this nature. AC goes on top, B goes on the bottom. This is ABC. So AC is positive 28 and B is negative 16. So what two numbers multiply to give you 28 and add to give you 16? That's the question. Okay, so let's make our factor tree. Our chart of factors here. What pairs of integers are multiplied to give me 28? I know 1 times 28 is 28. This combination yields 29 or 27. That doesn't work because we're looking for 16. 2 times 14 is another pair. 2 plus 14 is 16. 2 minus 14 is 12. So this pair is excellent. This is the pair I need right here. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 and 14. Now let's resolve the signs and see if it works. Since the product is positive and the sum is negative, that means both of them must be negative. All right, so I'm going to put that in here. X squared minus 2x minus 14x plus 28 equals 0. So we're going to break it down to center and factor by grouping, okay? All right. Now, from the first two, I can take out an x. X minus 2 is what you have left. And from these two, I can take out negative 14. And you're left with x minus 2. And then you have x minus 2 and x minus 14. Okay? Now, when some people get to this step of factoring, they say, oh, the roots are negative 2 and 14. And guess what? They go ahead and select option number 1, negative 2 and negative 14. That's inaccurate, okay? Because you have to do some more work. You have to apply the zero product property, okay? So how you do that is you set x minus 2 to 0 and x minus 14 to 0, and then you solve. If I solve this, I'll have x equals 2, and I solve this, I'll have x equals 14. Okay, so your solutions are positive 2 and 14, as we got in our other method of when we use the plug and check method. All right, so we can clearly see that our answer is option 2. All right, let's move on.